What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I gotta say, for those of you that think I'm just negative, end of this video, I'm going to talk about not only a positive, but one of the most realistic things I've ever seen Madden do. And I do also want to start by saying I like the play calling here by the AI. You've got Drew Brees with his X Factor engaged. You've got Alvin Kamara, one of the premier backs, especially in open space, and they're going to run a screen. The problem is, if you've played Madden, you know logics in screens are broken from an offensive and defensive standpoint. And it's incredible to me that anyone who wants to defend this game is able to sit here and pretend like they haven't been impacted by this, because you have. And these are things that really shouldn't get into the game, but should be fixed once they are. So let's take a look at what happens here. We know that Kamara is going to go out to the flat, so we can't assign him in as a blocker, which means this linebacker, could be a corner, could be a safety, doesn't matter, is AI controlled in needing to pursue to the quarterback. I've kind of channeled him down to the quarterback. Now, in real life, you run to a launch point. You run to where the quarterback is going to throw the ball, not where you think the quarterback is simply going to go. So when you look at the angle that's taken here, as you look at this linebacker, it's imperative you understand, in my opinion, the game does this intentionally and makes this massive arc so that the computer-controlled quarterback has ample time to throw the ball. Because you can only control one player. So why would any defensive player take this type of arc to the quarterback, or any player for that matter that has the ball, if him throwing the ball is dependent on how quickly this defender can get to the quarterback? You can love this game, it can be your favorite game, and you can still understand this is absolutely ridiculous. How ridiculous is shown right here, because I've drawn a red line from their front toe to the sideline. This player on a screen that was directly in front of the quarterback literally ran behind him. Literally runs behind the quarterback so that he can attempt to sack him. Tell me how that makes any sense. It doesn't. Now, to further complicate matters, this game has to give you the impression that, oh, you just almost had it. This is a competitive game, and it does that with this right here. Oh, Drew Brees got knocked to the ground as soon as he threw it, and Alvin Kamara had to turn around to catch it. It was so close. It was only this close because the AI pursuit in this game is atrocious. Now, let's talk about what happens once Kamara gets the ball. You can draw this up any way that you want. It doesn't really matter. I kind of went through a way I would like to see players go out and block. And, of course, you've got Gruden on the sideline standing there watching this all go down against his defense. Now, we go up, and you can see there still hasn't been any blocking by these two. Big boy number 78 has a couple different options, even if he doesn't want to work down toward the safety, because that receiver's clearly not going out to block anyone. You can now see he blocks no one. He doesn't block anyone. And the worst part is, user control on this player is going to be negated. I also want you to point out that linebacker in the background never blocked that safety. Now he's coming down. Why is this happening in our games? As we move forward, this player, the one that was user-controlled, is completely stuck in a tackle animation. Maybe that's why Gruden has his hands out. Who knows? You also have these two players yet to block anyone. From there, as I talked about, this tackle animation with users or the computer should have been removed years ago. Freezing a player on the field in a tackle animation is ridiculous, but it's what EA continues to do in their gameplay. And then obviously, as the tackle gets made, Gruden puts his hands on his head because he knows when he goes back in the digital film room and breaks this play down, there is no way he can teach any defender how to be successful playing football like this. Because the New Orleans Saints did one of the most stupid things they could do in terms of trying to set up a screen. I also want you to understand, one of the players coming down to make this tackle is the safety. And that receiver you see back there at the 15-yard line, simply looking back at the play, was strictly in charge of blocking him. And not only did he never touch him, he literally went almost prone on the field to where he was never going to touch him. This is the AI controlling the entire game. It controlled the quarterback even throwing the ball by modifying the route that was taken to the quarterback to bring pressure. It was in control of 90% of the blocking assignments. When the user did get in a position to actually make a play on the ball carrier, they were frozen in a tackle animation for whatever reason. I know some of you will blame a hit stick. And then blocking completely failed on every level, from the line to the wide receiver. Understand that screenplays are set in blocks. The linemen do not initially block on the snap so that they can be in position to go out and pick up players. And in Madden, this concept never works properly. So whether it's John Gruden here putting his hands on his head, knowing he'll never be in a position to tell these players they can continue to be successful defending screens, or the offensive coach with his hands on his head because he knows none of my players executed in a way that we be expected from a Pop Warner player. You cannot make up the issues this game has. You cannot write them off as things that do not affect you. And a lot of times when you really sit down and you're forced to look at X's and O's, you can't make sense of a lot of what this game does. And most of that comes from the concept of the game dictates everything. And that's why I've said for the longest time, there's no such thing as a good Madden player. There's no such thing as competitive Madden players. Sure, they may exist in our space, but so much of this game is simply dice roll animations. What is going to happen? How is it going to happen? How is this going to play out? In this example, perhaps better than I could show you all year, he was simply watching this play pan out. He didn't do anything to actually impact this one way or another. It was all animations being played on a screen. And that's the one thing I know I stressed the last many years of breaking down this game, is give us user control. Let me control the players. Let me have a say in the outcome of the plays. Don't continually force feed us these games that just clip animations together. It's a puzzle that EA puts together with animations, and then you sit back and look at the complete image. No one wants to play a video game with no user control. You're playing it for the exact opposite reason. And no matter how positive you want to be about this game, you're never going to get away from it. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking it out. I will be back in the week with more commentary.